Hi there, I'm Jeannie Street. It's my life mission to connect you to your soul's truth and to the miracles that will heal all the broken pieces from within you, causing you to feel alone in your life. We live in a world that has taught us it's okay to live as if we're separate beings from God. The separation stories continue and they tell us that you are disconnected from your departed loved ones and angels, as if life was meant to live lonely, hard, and even joyless at times. And while the fact is that we all have soul lessons and life experiences to navigate through, the idea that you're supposed to do it all alone, that's an untruth. I know because my angels guided me out of my own isolated, painful life and into an abundant one. No more feeling unsupported, lonely, or sad. I've got you. It's why you are here and why God put me on this earth, to remind you that you are not alone, that your soul is infinite, and you are meant to thrive, not just survive. I invite you into my world of conversation, messages from heaven, guidance from your angels, and inspirational readings and moments that will fill your heart and soul with God's grace and love. Get ready for pure miracle moments to flow into your life. Welcome to Angels Don't Lie. Welcome, guys, to Angels Don't Lie. I'm in my car because we've lost power and internet and cell service at my house. So I'm interviewing Alessandro from my car. Alessandro, how are you? And thank you so much for joining me today.
Hi, Jeannie. Good morning. I'm doing very good. Thank you very much. And um, the storm just passed, but we are okay. Everything's good. You don't have power, I don't have power, so we are on the same boat. It's all good. We're feeling
It,
blessed
it's
every
all
day.
it's all good. Yeah. Can you tell people? I mean, I don't want to slash your last name. I can get your first name down, Alessandro, but your last name is you say it. You do it.
Piovezehns. Piovezehns.
Piovezehns.
Pio.
And you're from
Yes.
you're originally from Brazil, correct?
I'm from Brazil. Yes, with Portuguese and Italian descent. So
And our paths have crossed most recently over the summer here. We got invited to a picnic, a COVID-friendly picnic, mask on. It was lots of fun. We met some new people here at the silo, which is located in New Milford, that you and your wife had recently purchased. And
correct.
then you and I had this conversation, you and I and my husband, just about where you came from and even like the path that led you here. And it really struck me. So I thought I would kind of get you to tell your story a little bit about, your history and what it is, your mission, your life mission a little bit. So I
Okay.
don't know
Well,
where you kind of want to start.
I'll start from the beginning, and then
It's
I
always a good place
accelerate
to
a little
go.
bit on the details. Um, make a long story short, my parents left me. I was 13 years old, so I spent 4 years living on the streets, eating from garbage cans, and experiencing all different nuances of things that happen when you live on the streets. And for many years, I couldn't really understand what was happening or even why it was happening. What's happening to me? What's going on? Why don't I have a place to live? Why am I going through all of this? And of course, it took forever. It wasn't easy. I think I fell on the same traps that everyone in this kind of situation would fall, which I lost trust and belief in anything and everything. Especially, um, you're very vulnerable when you're on the streets or when you're by yourself, especially when you're a child. You are very vulnerable, and there are a lot of people out there that they prey on this child's vulnerabilities for personal reasons. So my life on the streets got really complicated, not on the starvation side or the loneliness side, but when I'm start being sexually abused, when I started looking for support, looking for community leaders, religious leaders, and people that are supposed to be icons in our society, that you're supposed to be safe. When I need help, I'm going to go look for these people, and that's where I found evil. and transform my whole concept of life, the life I was living, and how I was going to live it. And at that point, I decided to live a life of violence. And because I tried to be nice, I tried to be a child, I tried to be innocent, right? Just being on my age. And people took advantage of that. And then I decided to turn to the other side. So I became extremely violent, evil myself, because I hated everyone. At that point, I couldn't simply, nothing made sense. People using, that's, goes towards my problem with God, right? That I talked to the day we met.
Did
Because,
you also like turn to drugs and alcohol during that
yeah,
time?
for alcohol, not much, but drugs, yeah, absolutely. And,
Okay.
drugs and crime and, drugs and guns were, a big part of my life growing up. And I always had this notion, because the individuals that I look for help, many of them would use, the words of God to justify what they were doing to me. It was not, we never had sex. It was always sharing God's love, because in their eloquence and their ability to talk to you, it's like, all we're doing here is not sex. It's not forbidden. It's not a sin. A child is God's purest expression of love, and we are the carriers of God's love, God's words. So we're sharing God's love. You know what I'm saying? That's the kind of eloquence, the kind of games they play with your mind. And at the end of the day, I just got totally screwed up, and I couldn't hear the word God. I couldn't even conceive speaking this word, or even on my own silent thoughts, to go like, hey, God, help me, or thank God, or I would even use the word God, because for me it meant, simply a word that people use to take advantage of you, that doesn't really exist.
So it turned sour for you, and
Oh,
then you
super.
so then you found comfort in your I'm going to call it like a gang, like
Mhm.
that other, where you felt like you were finally like brought in, like other people maybe could help you or like protect you by being tough.
Right. Yeah, and my life on the streets changed when I met a guy. His name was Paulo Cruz. Big black dude, super cool. I was trying to steal the stereo in his car at an airport parking lot at 3 in the morning. And I hear this big voice behind me. And the guy look and say, "Hey, what are you doing there?" And this is 3 o'clock, almost 3 o'clock in the morning in the parking lot. And I told him, I said, "I'm looking for a job. What do you think?" And then he asked me, "Have you eaten anything today?" And I said, "Well, why do you care?" I said, "Listen, I just arrived. I'm going to stop at a hot dog stand, get something. If you're not busy, just, come with me and we can talk." And I thought with myself, okay, great. So now I'm not only going to get a stereo, but I got a full car. So I got in a car with the guy and we drove, had the hot dog. Then he said, "Do you still have time?" Yeah, yeah. You mind if I show you a place? I said, "No." And that's when the games usually start. Come here, let's go have something to eat. Oh, you want to see my place? Yeah, let's go. So this is the standard. And I'm just thinking with myself, great. So let's go. Let's see what happens. Let's do this party. So he drove to a commercial building. We got in. He opened the doors of an office and turned the lights and said, "Listen, I'm a journalist and I also have a TV show. This is my office. This is all my equipment, all my stuff. You told me you're looking for a job. So if you want, I can let you sleep in this couch." There was a couch there in the reception. He said, "You can sleep on the couch. You can go inside the bathroom, overflow the sinks, and take a shower. And I'll give you 4 meals downstairs at the restaurant a day, and I'll pay you minimum wage." He said, "The only thing you have to do is answer the phone, paint the windows, take care of the place, and sometimes come with us and help carry the video equipment." And I'm thinking with myself, I said, "Well, okay." And he looked at me and said, "Listen, all this stuff that you see here," because one of the rooms were filled with cameras and equipment, and he said, "This is all materialistic stuff. It's all material stuff that if you decide to steal it, tonight and go sell it somewhere, do something, you can do that because I can buy it back. But if you decide to stay and consider that, I might be giving you an opportunity to transform your life. But that's all up to you. I can only help you to this point. From here on, you have to make your mind. And he gave me the keys for the office and closed the door behind him and left. And that night, I felt, for the first time in a long time, relieved almost, because I knew I was going to have a place for myself. I could sleep by myself and not be bothered. And I could lock the door behind me and nothing would get into that room. And that's the moment that my understanding and my, I don't know if it's consideration or respect for human beings started to change. Because until the moment I met that guy, I was willing to hurt anyone and everyone, because that's how I was feeling. That's how I was being treated on the streets. And I couldn't understand it. I was a child. But the most important thing that this guy did to me, I asked him, I said, why are you doing this? What's in there for you? And he told me, see, listen, I'm not a religious guy, but I'm a spiritualist. And I believe in helping people in need. So I guess you were in need and I'm helping you. And then he told me, the only thing I expect from you is that you one day, if you are in the position to help someone in need, just help them. But don't profile them. Don't create that perfect person in need that you will be choosing to help. And that's it. That's all I expect from you. So many years passed, life evolved, and years later, here I am, 1999. I'm 27 years old at this point. My mind is in a little better place. I was able to digest a lot of the things that happened to me. And as I said, I was extremely violent. And Paulo started teaching me how to channel that violence, all that energy that would guide me towards harming other people, to do productive things, creative things. And it was a very hard process for me because, I could never afford, psychiatrist, psychologist sessions. I had to ask the questions myself and find out answers that would, suit my needs. And, but I start switching from extreme violence to positive vibrations always. That's my motto today. And so every time, anything, any circumstance, I try to always apply the positive side of things, because there is a positive side. But another thing that Paulo was able to teach me was to stop trying to blame, to find someone to blame for the things that are happening to me. Even my mother, my parents, and people around me. Of course, now I understand we are all victims of circumstances. Yeah, but okay, it's very hard to understand circumstances that will make a mother or our father do what they did to us. Like my sister from 8 to 12 was raped by my stepfather with my mother's consent. So to have an idea of how crazy our childhood was. I have no memories of it. I have no pictures. I have no happy thoughts. Never had Christmas, had nothing. It's just brutal, crazy upbringing. So anyway, and this stopping to find blame, I started assuming that everything that happened to me was my fault. It's my fault because this is happening to me because I hurt so many people. I was violent. I stole. I used drugs. I did bad things. I lied. So that's why, bad things are happening in my life. So I need to clear that up. And that was the approach that I found for myself that would make sense to justify so much suffering, is because I assumed that I caused so much suffering that then I'm just, getting paid in suffering. Although my suffering started when I was born, and we go from there.
Right.
But now after I came to the United States, that was a big realization of dreams for me. It was a dream of my life to come here. You know, I love this country. It's just a place where I knew all my dreams can come true. I knew that here I could just focus on doing my things and growing as a human being.
How did you
I
know
was
that?
with my mom. Huh?
How did you know that? I'm just curious on how did you
I
know?
don't know. I just felt that. You know, I always have this great feeling, you know,
Mhm.
for the United States and hearing the American dreams and all these things, and I knew I had to come here, and that was a big part of my life, was build a life where I could create a financial structure to allow me to go to the American embassy, get a visa, and come here. Because I didn't have anything, I didn't have anybody, I didn't have a family. So I had to do is I had to create a business, make it successful, build enough financial strength to go to the consulate and make sure that I would get my visa. And I did.
Mhm.
So, and so I got here in 1999 and I had a lot of jobs. I had odd jobs, 4 jobs, 19 hours a day, 7 days a week, but I was the happiest man in the world because I was inside of my long time dream to be in America, you know, and every day walking here and waking up here for me it was just days of happiness. All my days in America since 1999 has been days of happiness. You know, hardship happened many times, difficulties, because this is normal in everyone's life. But being in America for me is like being inside of my lifelong dream. So I'm always happy, I'm always cool, I'm always good, because be here was the biggest dream of my life. And now so many amazing things are happening. Like we go back to 2006 when I started collaborating and working with the United Nations. I've been there collaborating with them for 16 years, mostly focused on, I'm going to walk around here because the dogs are just barking in there. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but my job was pretty much create awareness for the 8th millennium
You,
back then.
Alessandro,
And interesting is that the one, can you hear
find, yeah,
breaking up?
just wait till you get into a space and then talk, so you're not in and
Okay.
out.
Is it good here?
Yeah, there you are. Good. So
Okay.
what was the job? To create what?
My job was to create awareness for the 8th Millennium Development Goals using arts, music, technology, and internet. And the objective number 1 was eradication of extreme poverty and hunger. And that appealed so much to me. And so I did the work, 34 countries, created a program called Lively Up Music for Solidarity. We raised approximately 16 million pounds of non-perishable food with
What?
small social, 16 million pounds of non-perishable food.
Right.
Yeah. And it was all with unknown, unsigned amateur artists, semi-professional, communities gathering, coming together, 1 pound of food at a time, and no big budgets, no big artists. It was really grassroots, because that's what I do. I do grassroots stuff. I don't tip into the big budgets. And so after all this time and doing the work, I was able to share my story around the world with other kids and individuals in hardship situations, in situations like mine, with, you know, abuse, neglect, and humiliations and all that. But one thing that was missing for me was a place to call home for the project. Because when you work with these big organizations, there are many umbrellas. Everybody has their own agendas, and you're pretty much a soldier on the field doing a job. And once that job is done, you're deployed to another field to do your job again, and then so on and so forth. So for 16 years, I've done that. And I never had a place that I could point and say, hey, starting from here, or living there, this is happening, because they were not my umbrellas. I was just raising flags. And then Hunt Hill happened. And, and this is a tremendous realization for me now that God exists, right? Because I told you that I asked the question, what is God for you? Because I had, throughout all these years, assuming everything that happens to me is my fault. So if it's bad, it's my fault. If it's good, it's my fault. So all the good stuff that happened to me since I switched to the positive vibrations always motto, I attributed to myself. He said, great, you worked hard. You spent, days without sleep, putting the projects together. You work. And at the end, you got your reward, which is the whatever I'm trying to achieve, because for many times I failed. But then when this whole Hunt Hill Farm, the silo opportunity appeared in last November, I'm going to start talking about, I will go home and find myself waking up at 3, 4 in the morning, in the middle of the night, crying, overwhelmed. That feeling, like, that feeling that you're waiting for a vacation forever, and then you finally get to your vacation destination, and the first morning when you wake up, you're there like, ah. So that's how I would wake up in the middle of the night. And I was so overjoyed that I would cry, because I couldn't understand what was happening. I still can't. I believe me, I'm still, it's mind-boggling trying to figure all this that's happening, and all the little signs and positive, amazing things that are going on in our lives right now. Even, despite COVID and storms and all that, we're feeling totally blessed, because there's got to be something bigger up there. Before, I was very afraid, skeptical, reluctant even to use or say or even think about God, right? Because I didn't want God to be that God that people introduced to me. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't afraid that was going to be that. It was just on a book, or I didn't want to attach to any books or to anything. I'm just feeling this overwhelming energy and this blessing of amazing things that are happening to us, that it's got to be something much, much, much bigger. That is, at this point, I believe that, oh, hello? Are you there? You there?
I'm here. Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. So at this point, I believe that I just became a tool. I feel like I'm a tool. That God, or this tremendous energy of the universe that is blessing us with so many things, is just operating me like through remote control, because I just feel things and they happen, and I'm doing, and I'm seeing. For example, we have this horrendous storm 2 days ago, right? Okay, we don't have power like nobody else has. But the farm here, you see, it's just trees everywhere, trees around the houses, dead trees and branches. And when I saw the winds coming, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have problems. Not one tree or branch fell in any of the buildings or in the property at all. I don't even have debris. I have very little cleaning up to do.
I as I was driving up the road, first off, I've had no service at all, and so I'm driving up, and I'm like, yay, there's I can make a phone call finally, to let you know that I was going to come over, and here we are, like I'm looking around, and I'm like, your yard doesn't even look like anything happened, and we're not that far. Like where I live is just across the top of the mountain, and our yard looks like the trees had a party and they just left their mess all over the yard. And here, nothing.
I was afraid of that too. I have nothing. And I was like, looking at the wind. Even, I don't know if you remember, at the tobacco barn, we had the branch that's been sitting on top of the roof for 2 years.
Yes.
The wind even blew that off. It cleaned it up for me. And I don't know. You know what I mean? For me, all these little signs. Or when you told me after the reading, say, ask the question at night, burn the names, and wait for a sign, and you get a sign. And then the next morning, I got a Luna moth in my door that is very rare to see and stuff, and the answer was totally in line with the questions I asked, and was just great. So I mean, how can I not be overwhelmed and trying to, I'm not even trying to understand anymore, I'm just trying to accept it, and let that energy, let this wonderful feeling take over me, and I'm acting on spirit. I don't know. I got that guidance coming to me. I don't know. It may sound a little crazy, especially for me, because I was never this kind of guy. As I said, I only believed in myself. So now having to open up and learn to believe in something that is untangible is very intriguing. But of course, I mean, you are helping me tremendously to understand and process what's going on, because it's mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, I really enjoyed our conversation that first day when you were like, "But what is this? Why am I waking up so emotional?" And
yeah,
it's overcoming me, and like my dreams are coming reality. And you told me that you learned to, you had to stop trusting the outside world. And I said, that's what most of us have to learn, that like we need to learn to trust ourselves, because in trusting here inside, you're actually trusting God. But for
yeah,
you, you were tormented in a way that God didn't feel safe to you. Like that name
no,
didn't feel safe. So we kind of worked around like healing some of that. And I think you're still healing. I don't think it's not a one and done, but you're
right,
practicing this faith, like trying to say God and trying to invite that in, or Holy Spirit or divine, like that
yeah.
energy, because like the miracles of and even the people like that come here. And I think we should back up a teeny bit and just explain about Hunt Hill Farm, like the silo. What is this place and where you are, where it's located, just so listeners on the podcast have an idea. Paint the picture
Well,
for
the
them.
silo is located at Hunt Hill Farm in New Milford, Connecticut, on Upland Road. This property is a combination of two farms that were bought by Skitch and Ruth Henderson back in 1968. Skitch Henderson was the band leader for the Tonight Show back in the 50s, and he's also the founder of the New York Pops Orchestra in New York, of course.
Right,
Skitch Henderson was pretty much like the Michael Jackson of classic music.
I mean, seriously.
And so they built this place, which they call their Oasis. And so it's an art center, it's an art gallery. There's a pond and a huge farms, 11 acres, 6 buildings. And they had art classes, cooking classes. At one point, they had one of the most prestigious cooking schools in the country, which we're trying to revive now. And all they wanted was to give it back to the communities, to help the children. For example, they had a campaign every year called Children on the Balcony, where Skitch and Ruth would take 100 kids, 4 kids, local, to Carnegie Hall to watch the Pops perform. And so Skitch died in 2004. Ruth died in 2014. But in 2007, she wrote a document, which I received a copy a few weeks ago, where she pretty much describes how they envision Hunt Hill Farm to be preserved for after their passing and for generations in the future. And she wanted to be basically a live-in museum, the whole place. So when we got in here, most of the items and artifacts have been sold, but we were able to recuperate a few. And now we are preparing to allow the community to come here and enjoy this place and learn about Skitch and Ruth Henderson and everything and their significance to the town of New Milford, and also how important and iconic the silo is at Hunt Hill Farm, because it's one of the most iconic and historic buildings in the state of Connecticut. And now we're here trying to transform into a little paradise for our entire community. So we are offering free space for local artists to exhibit their crafts here. We have music programs, arts programs, healing circles, meditation. We're really trying to experiment, especially in this period of COVID, and let people that are looking for a place to heal, to have fun, to just relax, sit here and just listen to the birds all day. They are all welcome here.
I was so blessed to have my angel healer training at Silo last Saturday with a group of about, I think there was like 15 of us that could actually, that were willing to come out in person. The rest we did through Zoom. But everybody that came was overwhelmed with the energy of love here. Everybody,
Mhm.
like all of those students they all brought non-perishable food to help feed,
Yes.
to help serve and continue your mission of helping underprivileged children and fighting this I feel like it's a war of starvation across the globe. It's not just in,
It is
one country. It's everywhere.
everywhere. I've been focused on that for the last 16 years of my life in
Yep.
34 different countries. And another wonderful thing that happened here was Hamilton Brower. We
Oh
met.
my gosh, right?
Yeah, Ham is amazing. And I met him through Mia Birch, who's a great friend of mine. And with Ham and his foundation, they Stand Up for Health, we are creating now Connecticut's first community tower garden. So he brought some tower gardens here, and all the vegetables and fruits and anything that we grow in these gardens will be donated to the Milford Social Services to help them on their fight to eradicate hunger in our community. But this is something that we can expand around the world because it's fascinating. It's an amazing technology for agriculture. And it's our way to help really feed people. People are hungry, and an empty stomach feeds a very dangerous mind. And I tell you, because I was one of those, I have a few bullet wounds and knife wounds, stabs wounds to prove. We gotta feed people before education, before anything. You gotta feed people. You can't be hungry.
So when we did our reading, it was really clear when I was, talking to the Holy Spirit, like the energy that came through was they're using you, like God is using you because you were on the front lines, and now he's using all that bad for good. Like anything that you felt like was evil and darkness is now turned to light. And so you're serving, you're just showing up every day. But I'm sure it's got to be I'm sure for all of us, like we go back to those dark wounds at times. Where are you finding your peace and your faith now to stay and trust that God is delivering this to you, that you are on the right path?
Well, several things. First, my wife, because
Yeah. She's a
Danielle is
beautiful soul.
she's a beacon of hope and love. And I met her 5 years ago, actually 6 years now. And 4 hours after we met, I asked her, I proposed, and we've been together since. But I came from.
I love this story. It's because it's like, what?
and yeah, it was amazing because at that point I had decided that I didn't want any long-term relationships. I got really not interested in that anymore. But then I met her and blew my mind and my heart. So 4 hours after we met, I proposed. She accepted. I don't know who's the craziest, but we've been together since. And she is definitely my biggest source of satisfaction and power. Also, as I told you before, I am so overwhelmed and overjoyed with what's happening and this blessing that we're receiving, that I'm just following my heart. I'm following this energy that is taking over me and is giving me that certainty. I don't know. I'm just certain that things are right. I don't think that God would put me here or give me this opportunity to fail, because
Right.
as I said, it's so overwhelming. And if you understand the other options, there were the other people or organizations that are looking to get this place that have much better financials than I do. That's not hard at all. And even looking at how big this endeavor is, it's 11 acres of land that we have to, just mow the lawn and all this other stuff. And just looking around and be like, wow, it doesn't feel like a big endeavor. You know what I'm saying? A big responsibility. It just feels like a blessing, and I should just be living it. So that's what's giving me all this confidence. I can't explain any other way, because there is no other reason. You know what I'm saying? In terms of,
And
uh,
you've actually come up, like, there's some challenges, and you have
oh,
been called to take those challenges and bring them, bring them to get big resolve. But like, one of the challenges is about uh the sketch being in the, what is the museum? I don't want to
oh,
lose
the
my.
Smithsonian
Yes, the
Institution,
Smithsonian, like they had that here, but the last people that were running it didn't pay that. Um,
the renewal fee. Yeah.
yeah, so explain that. Like, that's a big thing that you're up against, but you're not even looking at it as like a hardship. You're just willing to go and
I'm banging my
contact.
head against the wall. Yeah, what happened is that in 2003, the Hunt Hill Farm Trust, which is the organization here, they Skitch and the Skitch Henderson Museum, they became the first affiliate of the Smithsonian Institution in the country. And now that we're responsible for carrying, protecting, and promoting the Henderson's legacy, I believe that a Smithsonian affiliation for the museum was one of Skit's biggest achievements in his career, and that it couldn't be simply gone. So, but for the refusal of paying the renewal fees in 2019, the affiliation was revoked. So I started a process now. I contacted Smithsonian and they told us, oh, well, we tried for a year to get it restated and this and that, but there was no interest on the side of the organization. So we pretty much initiated the process to revoke that and cancel the affiliation. And I asked them if they could give me like a presidential pardon and say, for 13 years, I've been paid on time and everything is good. Is this guy's legacy? And please help me maintain it. And the gatekeeper said, no, we can't do it. You have to apply again. And we just don't have the finances to qualify again from scratch. So I started reaching out to people. I reached out to Senator Blumenthal. I reached out to Johanna Hayes, to Chris Murphy. They all signed a letter together, sent to Smithsonian, and we didn't get a really favorable answer at this point. They still not hitting high enough. So I just think this is a political thing. It's not written in stones, and I just haven't spoke to the right person yet. So now we are looking for, Ham is actually helping me get to other politics and influential individuals, because we have letters from Hillary Clinton congratulating the Hendersons back in 2004 for the affiliation, from Rudy Giuliani, from George Bush, and I'm trying out, getting all these letters. I'm getting all these pictures of these people together with them, mailing out and say, please, can somebody with enough power make a call to Smithsonian and say, give it back? Because it's a huge legacy. It's a loss for America, not just for the Skitch Henderson Museum or for the Hunt Hill Farm. It's a loss for America, because this guy was, on the way from the 40s all the way to the 80s. Any major Hollywood production will have him behind, being the conductor of these big orchestras and doing all the stuff, plus his contribution, for America's music history. And that's what we're trying to do here, to really embrace Hunt Hill Farm. Like, actually, I closed my own foundation that I had for 17 years to dedicate 100% of my time to Hunt Hill Farm Trust, to Skitch Henderson Museum, and to the silo. I have no other plans, no other projects, no other goals other than transform this place into the paradise that the Hendersons envisioned, because it's their vision. And I'm here as a tool, as a vehicle to make sure that it gets implemented and achieved. So
This is what, like, it it people will question, like, why do you care? Like, why do you care about the Hendersons? You never met them. Why do you care so passionately? Coming here into America, that this has to be saved. I mean, I know in my body, I know what the angels tell me, but like, how would you describe that to somebody? Like, why is it so important to you?
I heard this question before, and so until November last year, I never heard Skitch Henderson. I had no idea who he was or even existed. But I think the best word to describe is gratitude. Because without them building this place, and I wouldn't be here. And actually, I think also living on the will and their desire that this place should be maintained as is, should be their oasis for generations to come. And anyone that is really interested in maintaining and saving this place should have the opportunity to do it. Pretty much that's my interpretation of, you know, the stuff that the attorney read in other words. But I think that's it. Gratitude. You know, we're grateful to have this opportunity, and I will embrace them as my family.
Do you feel that God led you here?
Oh, undoubtedly. Yeah, absolutely. It was so crazy, you know, the way it happened. Because I told you, I was, you know, going to the Sherman town where I lived, talked to my select men. They had a farm that they're looking for ideas and things to do with it. I share my vision of building this center of excellence for youth empowerment through arts, music, technology, and solidarity. And he loved it, but said, I'm sorry, but Sherman is not the place because this farm is complicated. It's not for people, this and that. Then he asked, have you heard of Skitch Henderson and Hunt Hill Farm? And I told him, said, never. I said, go there, share your vision, and I think you'll get a chance. And I told him, man, but I don't have millions of dollars to buy a place like that. I said, go with your vision, and I'm pretty sure that you get a shot. And he was right. I got a shot. And you know, and making things even more interesting, the Henderson's ashes are buried in the backyard of the main house where we're living right now. And I'm telling you, man, I feel it. You know, it sounds weird. I made not for you because you have the angels you can
Not
channel
at all.
and the people that are listening to you. I feel it. I can even hear voices. You know, it's so interesting.
Yeah,
And
like tell them about like you came up. Tell them how you found the photos and the reel to reel the music that he created with who is it? Frank Sinatra? Is that who it was? The music that you found?
yeah. No, we found. I have a friend helping me go through items that we found at the office because I end up buying all the leftover items that the company had bought, all the artifacts considered garbage. And I just said, no, leave it there. I bought all the garbage and found treasures in it. And among them, 6 boxes.
We can't hear you. I don't know where you went. Now I can hear you. Yeah. Nope. No, it sounds like something got muffled.
Hello?
There you go. Yeah, that's it.
Good? Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we found 6 boxes inside of their office that contains original tapes, recording tapes with several names of famous artists. And we found 3 tapes with Skitch Henderson, Tony Bennett.
Tony Bennett, that's what it was.
Tony Bennett.
With
And
Tony
there's
Bennett.
so many others. So I'm getting friends now that are actual musicians and understand music history in America because they look at those names. Oh my God, this is that. There's even that guy that does I forgot his name. He does a hidey ho.
Right.
Yeah, I forgot his name now, but it's there. It's all original. So I'm trying to find this friend of mine, Ken Sundberg. He is trying to connect to a friend of his that does tape baking for are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Are you there?
Yep.
Am I losing you? I'm going back and forth. No.
You just did one, but you're here.
Oh, I am here?
Now you're not. I can hear you, but can't see you.
Oh,
There
no.
you go.
Oh, can you see me? Yeah, good.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so now he's contacting this company, his friends that does baking, because he said the tapes needs to be put in an oven so they can be baked in a certain temperature to be able to release and open and listen and play. I'm just excited. So, you know, we've been finding so many things and little details from pieces and elements that is just making this experience magical for us. And I'm so blessed. And I'm blessed to meet you too, because until I met you, I I think if I haven't met you and we hadn't had that our first conversation, I don't know. I would still be with a lot of doubts in my head, trying to figure out, what's God and what's happening to me. Why am I so emotional? You know, I am emotional, but I am not that easily
Right.
touched.
Yeah, no, you have that tough exterior, but then, I can see when like God moves through you, it um, just as I see anyone else, when God moves them, it becomes pure passion and driven to like do the right thing, right? To do the
Yeah.
next right thing. Share with them about the piano, because I love this part, and I also feel like it brings like Ruth and Skitch such joy that you fought for it.
Yeah. So when I got here, all the items have been already sold to this company that buys estates. They do estate sales and things like that. I was able to stop the sale of items in the museum. And part of my negotiation with the attorneys here, when we got it, was to maintain Skitch Henderson's CD 199 piano in the living room. This is a very special piano because it was made for Skitch back in the 40s. I think it was 49. Was the first piano. There was the piano played in the first episode. Skitch played in the first episode of the Tonight Show back in the 54.
Wow.
And Steinway flown this piano all over the world for every single international performance that Skitch did around the world. And many people played this piano, like Elton John, Billy Joel, and a lot of. Starting to get a list of, people that played with that. But there's also a second piano that we are about to bring it back here, which is a smaller Steinway that was also made in 49, I think 47 or 49, and is signed by 4 Steinway family members.
Wow.
So I was able to talk to the former chairman of the board, which is the individual who now holds possession of the piano, and he agreed to let us bring the piano back to the museum and leave it there where it belongs. And among that, there is also Skitch Henderson's steam engine from the 1800s that is sitting outside. It's been there for 4 decades. Was sold as part of this package. With my friends, we did a tremendous search online. We're able to find it after a few months of research. I located the owner, talked to him, and he was grateful. His name is Patrick. And he agreed to return the steam engine to us and unload it in the same spot that's been sitting for the last 4 decades. So we're trying to bring these little elements that meant something to Skitch and Ruth here. And hopefully people will come by, visit the place, feel welcome, because that's the most important thing for us here. And Skitch and Ruth, they made it very clear they wanted people to feel welcomed here. And that's what we're trying to do. And it's beautiful. People are now coming for picnics. Grandpas with their grandsons are sitting at the pond to go fish, and it's just happening. It's just happening. And I know we have COVID and all that. Maybe I shouldn't sound that happy. I don't know, but it's just COVID wasn't. It feels more like a blessing for me, for my family, for us here, than a bad thing. Because it's really giving us the time to sit down and meet wonderful people and use the farm as a place for healing, to help, through the little music programs we're putting out and the performances outside, and, the angel readings here and the meditations and all these, the drum circle we had last Sunday and so forth, is giving the community a little place that they can come and just feel normal for a while.
Yeah, I met
pandemic.
this gentleman last weekend when I was here. He was coming in. He's doing a recovery program, but it's a Buddhist recovery meditation, and just a completely different kind of thing I've ever heard of. And his energy when he walked by me, I was like, ooh, like he's
It's Harry. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, like I could just feel like God around him, like that, like divine energy. And so he's just bringing another element of that here too. I feel like God is just bringing you the people
The
and the
people.
experiences that are meant to heal on a deeper level in the community.
Yes, and it's bringing me a lot of people focus on self service to others.
Service to others, yes.
And this is the part that's fascinating me, because we're not talking utopia here, utopia, whatever the proper way to pronounce is, but it's doable, and that's another thing too that I was talking to a friend yesterday. He said, Alex, how are we going to do with the management and this stuff and this and that and blah blah blah. I said, listen, we have such a blessing to have this opportunity to have this place in hands and figure out what to do with it, that I want to implement a whole new management style here, a whole different approach where we will involve the community, involve the members, involve individuals like Ham and Harry and yourself and all the other people that are coming here, and with the same mindset to help, where money is not an objective, it's not even into play. Everybody is accepting the fact that we are trying to make it a consequence of a work well done and not a goal. So we do the work, we put the sweat here, and it's going to happen. I have that feeling. If we take this approach, it will be really self-sustainable. If everybody collaborates, everybody contributes, I think that's how the paradise should be. The venue is here. The place is here. It's available to us to experiment, to try to do good things, to help the community. Like I told Harry, I tell everybody, if what you do has no cost for the community, you can come here and use our grounds at no cost. And if there is a cost, I just expect to be very affordable to everybody. And if it's successful, we can do a rev share. We can all be successful together. And that's what I'm trying to implement. Of course, that people say, oh, it's hard, you got to do this, you got to do that. I don't got to do anything. I just got to follow this energy that is coming to me with the knowledge and the guidance and the energy, because I feel
I want to just kind of, I want to follow up, just like, it sounds amazing, like what you have, but it's so easy to get back into that human pain point, that, like, I call that, like, that human conditioning. Like, I'm not perfect. I'm having an experience. I get messy too. So you get messy, but what are you using to stay in your alignment with God, to purify, so to speak, to release that anything that comes up?
Well, as I said, I think positive vibrations always. So my mind is always in a positive mode, try to find the positive things in everything, even in the bad things. But also I'm using the little words that you taught me as a way to feel more comfortable with God. So anytime there's some kind of dark thoughts or things pass through my head or doubt, whatever it is, I just use only things from God and from love can come to me. And that a deep breath, and that will take it, any kind of insecure thoughts out of my head. And I'm trying your meditation too, a few days a week, learning to, let go and really embrace it. So the exercises and the things you taught me in the last few days are being very helpful to supplement my ability to see positivity in everything.
I think God has just brought you the people that you needed at the time. Like, did you say it was Paulo that first aid team got you off the street? Yeah. So if Paulo did talk about God, you wouldn't have led with him. You probably would have been like, no. But he still had that foundation of being in alignment with spirit, and yes, and still, like, all about love. And he just gave you opportunity to find love again.
Yep, he did.
And that really is what
life.
The divine is. Whatever you call God, higher power, or divine, it is that vibration of love.
Yeah, that's and that's what I'm processing. And with your help, is making sense. I'm not feeling disgusted or protective or ashamed or, just using or associating myself with the word God. Because, but now the way you are clearing the path for me is making me feel joyful. you know, and not shameful to say, yeah, God, I believe in God. Yes. Because
Right.
now with, you know, with your teachings, I am starting to learn who God is or what God is. And before I couldn't have that separation in my mind because I was too angry. I was,
Well,
it
makes
was a deep wound for me. Again, not the abuse and the suffering that I already overcame that. I don't have problems with that anymore. But I had this problem with God,
so.
you know.
One piece of advice that you would give to our listeners today, who maybe have found themselves in tragedy like you lived, how would you tell them to trust themselves? How would you tell them to find that God, that light in them?
Well, I have a lecture that I do during my travels and my work. And one section of that lecture, I called it back home. What happened is this: our subconscious, it doesn't really know, you know, what's happening to us. If we're happy or if we're sad, it only knows how far we are from who we really are. You know what I'm saying? And when you're going through moments of hardship or depression or bad stuff, your subconscious or life will throw you so deep into darkness that you look around and you get desperate. You don't know what to do. You don't know who you are. You don't know if things are right or what's going to happen tomorrow. And the same happens when you are thrown into success and the spotlight. I can use what's happening to us here as an example right now, because the moment, if we take in any other place, it would be totally different than what's happening here. But this is the silo. Is, you know, it's Skitch Henderson's place. Is one of the most iconic places in the state of Connecticut. So we are thrown into the public eyes immediately. And if you're not certain of who you are, this success or this appearance of success can also blind you. And your subconscious also doesn't know that. It just knows that how far you are from the person that I am. So my recommendation is that always try as hard as you can to be close to who you know you are, to your heart, to yourself, to your beliefs, to yourself. Don't let the depression or the hardship or even, you know, the successes and things that can drive you far or too far from who you are. And in your heart, when you just there with yourself, you know that you have the strength, you know that you have what it takes to overcome. But what you need to do is to really go all deep, head on, and don't let anybody or anyone distract you from that goal, which is find yourself and believe in yourself. And that's what I did. And I believed in myself so much that I couldn't believe in anything else. And now I can say, you know, believe in yourself and believe that there is a God there. There is a big God, strong. Sounds maybe hypocritical for people that knows me from all my life and everything that I believed and the way I portrayed myself, to be now saying that there is a God up there that looks for us and is overwhelming help us. Be like, Alex, you're a hypocrite. You're saying that now there is a God. You know what I'm saying? So, but yes, believe in yourself. Believe in this wonderful God there is above us and looking for all of us. And you will get there. You get through. You know, just keep going. Don't lose the faith. Don't lose the trust that you deserve it. And because you deserve it, you're going to get it. That's, you know, that's what I tell myself when I look in the mirror.
I love everything you said. It's just so fucking powerful. So if you can, you tell them how to find you, like on social media, websites and everything. Like how can they hang out with you and just like, even if they're not in Connecticut, how can they find you?
Well, my page, my Facebook page is Allessandro Piovezehns, Piovezehns, or they can go, better go to the Silo CT on Facebook, which is our page here for the farm. And our group on Facebook is called Love the Silo. So this is the best way to be in touch. I always answering the questions and interacting with people. And if you are here, are local, if you're traveling by or coming by, please come to the farm, spend some time here. If you like to camp, come camp here. But or you can just ask Jeannie Street and she'll give you my contact information.
There you go. Right.
But I love to see people
You're
here.
working on the website though, am I correct?
Yes, hunthillfarm.org.
Yeah.
And we're trying to buy the silo domain name also. But hunthillfarm.org will be up and running within the next 3 weeks.
Yes, perfect. Well, thank you so much for allowing me to interview you and being so open to sharing your journey of, I feel like, you know, that hardship, that fall from your truth. And even though you've been through all these, you know, really horrendous things, you're back into this, you know, the light of God and just being led. I feel like that's exactly what you're doing. You're letting
Yeah.
God lead you. I
am, because, you know, this is not me. This here is God working with Skitch and Ruth up there, putting an orchestra together, and I'm just one of the instruments they are using. And as I said, we feel blessed every day. This is really a magic place. And again, God is here, is everywhere, is good all the time. And I'm really blessed. I wish I had more words to express.
I know. I've got to take some pictures. I still cannot believe that you have nothing down from that, you know, the tropical storm that came through. Right there.
See, those are the things that are happening. Because God knows I don't have it in my budget, you know, major cleanups.
Yes.
I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to have to work so much now.
Right.
But no, it's good.
Thank you, Alessandro. Thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, Jeannie, thank you very much for, you know, showing up in our lives at the moment you did. And I'm glad, I'm blessed, and I'm honored. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. And positive vibrations always.
Right. Always positive vibrations. And you guys, you know, I know what I know because angels don't lie. Have a great day.
When she smiles at